Hey folks, welcome back. Glad you could join me again today. And if I look a little funny the way I'm dressed, it's simple. It's cold. It's real cold out. So I got my funny little hat on and extra layers, and because well, winter just lasts a little bit too long to put horses on hold. So we gotta deal with the elements and accommodate them. Anyhow, I want to talk about something that is going to, well, it's going to lead up to a little demo here in a minute. Hopefully, we'll see. That part might actually end up getting put off till tomorrow, depending on how things work out, because the horse that I'm going to use is frequently a problem. But if I bring him in that door behind me a couple of times in one day, usually not too bad. And I've already had him in once today, which inspired me to think of this. And so because I've already had him in once, he might not be horrible this time, but unfortunately. So I'm really hoping that he's actually going to be a bit of a problem so that we can give you an accurate demo. And, it's going to be difficult in here because of the lighting. There's lights coming from the wrong directions and all this stuff. And, it's just, I can't even get the camera in the proper place to get a good picture of what's going on and stuff. And it's just, we got problems. It's a problem. And there's just no two ways around it. And but I'm going to do the best I can to try and provide you with a suitable view, hopefully, where you get to see what we're doing, because a lot of it is actually relevant. Connects directly to my last couple of videos where I talked about being firm, fair, consistent, and following through. And it also goes back to symptoms versus problems. It's a very good example of that as well, because we have a bit of a problem, but it's not really a problem. I'll explain in a minute. Is when I go to bring him in, he doesn't want to come in that door. Now, once we get him in, he's not too bad, but getting him through that door is a bit of a problem. He gets to that doorway, and it's like there's this little invisible line there he doesn't want to cross. And pretty much every day when we go to bring him in, we have a bit of a problem, and that varies a little. And, some days it's only 30 seconds, some days it's 30 minutes it takes to get him through that doorway. And that's what I want to show you, because I've had other people, watching me do this, and they go, oh, geez, that's a problem. You can't get them through the door. And I'm like, oh, I don't care. No big deal to me, because that's not a problem. Getting them in here that's not a problem one little bit. That's a symptom. And that's one of those things that you have to understand. Him not wanting to come in that door is a symptom of his actual problem. He doesn't want to leave his herd that's out there. And as soon as he comes in that doorway, well, all of a sudden him and his herd are in two different places. And so that's actually the real problem, is his herd boundness or separation anxiety, whatever you want to call it, in case you haven't figured it out yet. Yeah, it's that off-the-track thoroughbred. And this is one I said it was a bit of a challenge getting them in here sometimes. And that's one I want to show you, and that's where you got to be firm, fair, and consistent and follow through. And by follow through, like I said, some days it's 30 seconds, some days it's 15 minutes it takes to get them in here. And I don't really care which. I just decide that, I'm not quitting. I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to follow through. If I ask him to come in, I'm not going to quit asking him to come in until he does. And I don't care how long we have to stand in this doorway. It really doesn't matter. But I don't want to make it a bad experience. Now, there's different ways of doing things. Some people might think, oh, I'll get somebody else outside there behind him to tap him on the bum with a whip or something, kind of like you do when you're trying to load a horse. Well, that just creates problems. You got to understand this, is because then all of a sudden this door becomes a really bad place, because every time I get near this door, somebody's tapping on my bum with a lead rope or a whip or a whatever. They don't want that. So that's one of the things that we're going to demonstrate, is that, we're not going to use anything other than what you see right here, my lead and halter. That's all we're going to use. We're not using anything else at all. There's no whip, sticks, gimmicks, gadgets, no tools, just our lead and halter. That's all we're going to use to get him through that doorway that he really doesn't want to come through. But we're going to be firm, But we're going to be fair. We're not going to get into a tug-of-war with them because, well, I'd lose that one anyhow, so there's no point. But we're going to be firm. We're going to be consistent. We do this every single time we bring him in here. We're consistent. He's coming in. That's all there is to it. He's coming in whether he wants to or not. And we're just going to be firm, and we're going to follow through. And eventually, hopefully, it's not going to be so much of an issue. But I'm not even concerned about it anyhow because, like I said, this isn't a problem. Getting him through that door, although as difficult as it might be, it's not a problem. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of his real problem. And that's his herdbound separation anxiety issue, whatever you want to call it. You know, that's the real problem. What you see, what you're about to see here is a symptom. Now, like I said, because I already had him in once today, it might be pretty easy to get him through here again. He tends to be that way. In fact, I've had days where I just did nothing but go in and out the door with him. And by the time we were done, all I had to do was just point and he'd go in. And actually, there has even been a couple times where he's come in that door with not even a halter on him. Just because we'd been in and out enough times that he was comfortable with it. But, you know, from one day to the next, especially if we haven't, you know, worked with him for a couple of days, when, you know, like yesterday we didn't do anything because temperature's just ridiculous. It was even colder than it is today. And we took the day off. We stayed inside where it was warm. And so, of course, today it was a little bit more difficult getting him in again. Now, because I've already had him in once, it might not be too bad. I might actually have to finish this video tomorrow. If I do, oh well. This is still the prelude, introduction. What we're going to be doing is what you're about to see is, when I go get him, is you're going to see a horse that really doesn't want to come in that door. So you just give me a minute. I'm going to go get him, and, well, we'll see what happens. And I'll show you how to approach things. And, oh yeah, okay, so it's symptoms versus problems. I'm firm, fair, and consistent, and I follow through on this every single day when I go to get them. And the other thing that I'm going to show you is a little bit on, it might be hard to see what I'm doing because of the angle the camera's at, unfortunately. I'm probably going to be in the way most of the time. But I want to show you how you use pressure and release and your timing to get the horse to move forward off of the lead. Now, inside the arena, he's very, very good once he's past this door nonsense, which is why I don't worry about it too much because it's just a symptom. It's not the actual problem. But I do apply the exact same principle that I would normally do if I want to get the horse to respond to the lead, is I apply a little bit of pressure, and I don't, if he backs up a little, I keep the pressure on. I just go with him. And then as soon as he steps forward, I release. And so he realizes that moving forward is the right direction. And eventually he's going to get the idea that that's what he's supposed to do. Well, actually, he already knows that. But his knowledge of that is overridden by his separation anxiety. So when it gets to that door, all bets are off. He doesn't necessarily want to come in. So give me a second. I'm going to go get a horse, and we'll see what ensues. Okay, so we got our big old mule here. Okay, he's not a mule, he's a thoroughbred. But he doesn't want to cross this line right here. He just really doesn't want to. And this is one of those other things I've talked about before. I say you got to have patience, because no matter how long it takes to get through this doorway, that's how long it's going to take. And I better have patience, because it might take a while. It has. There have been days where it has taken quite a while just to get through that doorway. He seems a little annoyed by this halter because he didn't want to come even this far. He was already pulling before we even got up to the door. So he's already a little annoyed with this thing. And before we go any further, I think I'm just going to stop and adjust it up a bit more. There we go. Want to maintain a decent fit on it. And normally I would send a horse in. It's the safest way to go through a doorway. I've demonstrated that before. But in this case, I need to be in front of him so that I can actually put pressure on the lead and ask him to take a step forward. Now, you see, as soon as he takes a step forward, I stop pulling. The lead goes slack. He gets release. Now I'm going to ask him to go again. Maybe you get a better view of him on the other side. I don't know. I'll see. I'm just snugging it up. I'm only using one hand. Good man. Oh, he's got 1 foot in now. That's actually pretty good, but like I said, we did already have him in here once today. But again, I'm going to be firm, fair, and consistent. I'm not pulling hard. I just want to let him know, okay, now he's going to pull back. Oh, but you see, I'm not going to get in a fight with him. Oh, there he goes. But I do keep the pressure on. I'll go with him. That's one of those things that you do. You go with the horse. No matter what the situation is, you go with the horse. And now I'm just going to ask him to move ahead again. You know, he's backed up from where he was, but I don't care. If he takes a step forward, I'm giving him a release. He did take a step. It was only 1 step. It wasn't much, but... Come on, buddy. He's probably going to pull back. Oh, no, he's going to come forward. Good boy. Good boy. And that's what I mean. You got to be patient. You got to be... I'm being fair by not pulling any harder than this, but I'm being firm in that I'm not going to stop pulling. I'm going to pull. He's coming in here. That's all there is to it. And if I have to go with him every time he freaks out and pulls back, whatever, I'll go with him. And as soon as he takes a step, I'm going to give him release. He's a good boy. Now, at his point, he should understand enough to come in all the way when I ask him to, but because of the issues he's got, we're doing this a little bit different today. Well, every day with him. With this particular horse in this scenario, like I said, there's no one right way of doing things. There's a little bit different each time. So again, we're going to just tighten it up a little bit. I only got 2 fingers on this lead rope, by the way. That's how hard I'm pulling. And if he takes a step forward, we're going to give him release. If he goes backwards, then I'm going to go with him. He took a step forward, so I just gave him release. That lead is now slack again. Now I'll see if he takes another one. And, this could be a very long or a very short video. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen here. And I would actually prefer to be on the other side of there's lots of space in here. Normally I don't like doing this because if the horse jumps forward, I might get landed on. In his case, I got to make an exception because of how we have to do it. There's exceptions to every rule, but this is where it's very important to pay attention. But I have done this with him enough times. I know what to expect. When he does finally come in, he's going to walk in very calmly. He's very good. I'm just going to snug up that lead again and see. No, he doesn't want to come in. He's going to pull back. I keep tension on the lead until he moves forward again. And I'm going to ask him to take another step and let it go slack. Then I'm going to ask him to take another step. There we go. Good man. He didn't actually take a step, but he did move. Okay, he's pawing again. He does this every once in a while when he gets to a certain point. He gets frustrated. Completely ignore that. That's the kind of stuff you just completely ignore. Means nothing. He wants to paw. He can paw all he wants. I don't care. It's actually solid wood under there. He can't dig it up. I'm just going to snug that up again. See, he's either going to go forward or go backwards. No, he's going backwards. I don't care. I'm going with him until he comes back to where we were. There he goes. Takes another nice step forward. I give him release. We'll just wait a second here, and then we'll just ask him to take another step forward. And, this is where, like I said, follow through. You got to be willing to follow through, which means that I got to be prepared in spite of the elements. I'm dressed for it because this might take a half an hour just to get him through that door. And honestly, I don't really care what else happens other than that, because that in itself is actually an accomplishment, is getting him through the door. He did take movement. There we go. Took another step. Oh, there he goes back again. Okay. See, I love doing this because this is an excellent example of how you use your lead. You don't get in tug of war with a horse. And don't try pulling his head sideways. Actually, his owner even suggested doing that when he got stubborn and didn't want to go forward. And I said, no, that's not how I do things. I'm just going to put a little pressure on him. And I think I said, one hand, well, actually, I think I got 3 fingers on the lead now. But there, he just took a step forward. It went slack. And that's where it's important that when the horse does move, don't go with it. Hold your hand steady in space. Same thing as you use in a lot of other processes you're going to do. Very important that you do this. And you're going to do this consistently. Good man. He tried going back. He thought about it, but I didn't let go. I kept hold of the lead. So the more he went back, the more pressure there was. And then he decided, no, that wasn't a good idea. I'm just going to ask him to take another step, at which point he's going to go back again. And you see, I didn't let go. I kept the lead on, and I'm going to keep pulling until he takes 1 step forward. That's all I want. There we go. We got a step. He actually took 2, but that's okay. Because he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing. He just doesn't want to do it because he's got this fear of being separated from his herd. I'm just going to put another, no, he doesn't want to come in again. I'm actually surprised because he's already been in once instead of usually when you do it the second time, he comes in a whole lot easier. He's actually being worse, that's okay. It's great for the video. Makes for content, as they call it. Good content. I don't know. Come on here, buddy. Good man. There we go. He's still right at that magic line, though, that he does not want to cross. And I'm just going to put some more pressure on here. 1 hand, 2 fingers, actually. But I'm just going to, he wants to pull his head back. There we go. Once his head comes back down, he actually didn't even move his body that time. He just moved his head. And sometimes this stuff's a little tricky as to exactly when to let go and when to apply pressure. Every time he moves in the right direction, I try to give him release, pause for a few seconds, and I'll ask him again to take another step, like that. And he's getting close. He's thinking about it, I can tell. And in he comes. There we go. Excellent. Yeah. Nice guy. Now, was that a problem? Nope, not a bit. Required all of the things I just talked about in firm, fair, consistent, and follow through. And it is also an example of problems versus symptoms, because that's not the problem, not at all. That's just a symptom of his real problem, because when it comes to leading him, once he's in the arena away from the herd, he actually leads very well. He was a little sketchy at first. He wasn't perfect. Didn't do things quite the way I'd like, but didn't take him long to catch on to things. And he very, very quickly became very soft on the lead. And, well, I showed you what I wanted to show you now. So we're just going to put him right back out again. We accomplished what we wanted to for the day. I've already had him in the arena and worked with him a little bit. So, and you can see, once he's in here, he's not bad. He's not bad at all. He still would like to go back outside, and actually, what's funny is once he gets up to the door where he can see the herd, right here, he's fine. He'll stand here all day. As long as he can see his herd. He just doesn't want to be separated from his herd. So that's what the real problem is. It's got nothing to do with him coming through the door, even though he demonstrated all sorts of issues. And even his owner speculated that possibly at some point in his past, because he is an ex-racehorse and got trailered from track to track a lot, he may have had a bad experience in a trailer that makes him not want to go through doorways. And although, that is a possibility, a very slight one, I don't think that's the case at all. It's simply, this is just a symptom of his actual problem. Because if he's in the mood for it, he'll just walk right in here some days. So anyhow, that's all I wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you, actually a whole bunch of things at once, how you can use your lead, how you apply pressure and release, the difference between problems and symptoms, and that firm, fair, consistent, and follow-through stuff that I've been talking about, how it all works. My follow-through is, he's coming in. I asked him to do it, and I'm not going to stop asking him to do it until he does it. And I don't care if it takes half the friggin' day. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. And he's, right now, he's a smart fella. He knows. He can smell the crumbs in my pocket from the treats that were there, and he's hoping to get one. He's a nice guy. He's very social. Outside of his worried state, he's actually a real nice horse. So not a bad guy at all. We just have to work on his problems and get him to realize that he doesn't have to have other horses around him to help him out, make him feel more confident that he can do that all by himself. So anyhow, there you go, folks. I think that's a wrap on today's video. And don't mind my funny clothing, but I'm warm. Because, like I said, you got to be prepared to do the follow-through and have no idea whatsoever how long this was going to actually take with him. We're dressed for the occasion. Typically, once I get this far, once we get him into the arena, a lot of this stuff would come off because then there's no breeze in there at all, and it doesn't require near as much. And I see another horse heading this way. We better get him out of the way before they try coming in. How'd you go, sir? Come on. Good day. Have a good day.